This is Moments Without Reason with Alan Prohaska and Joe Peralta. A couple of fellas sitting around chatting about whatever comes up. If you've got something on your mind you'd like to share, hit us up on email at momentswithoutreason@gmail.com. Moments Without Reason. And now your hosts, Alan and Joe.
And we're back for another week of fun and games with Joe. Hi, Joe.
How are you?
It's Alan here, Joe here. I'm good. How was your week?
Pretty good. It's crazy, man. I can't believe it's almost the end of July.
Right.
Where does the time go? You know, I always base it on Y2K. Is Y2K over yet? That was 14 years ago.
Do you remember the thing with Y2K about all the computers were supposedly going to crash because they couldn't understand that it was rolling over?
Yeah, well, no, it wasn't. There was only two digits, so after 99 it would go to 00.
Right.
Which then the computer thought it was 1900, which made sense for the computers.
Right.
You know, that went, hey, I don't even exist, so it was like this big time warp.
Right.
Everybody would, just...
I think it wound up being, maybe it was an issue and we didn't know about it, but there was nothing happened at all.
Well, no, a lot of people prepped. I was involved with a company that, certain systems, they're not going to tell you,
right?
Because they don't want to, put you in fear. But
no, that's true.
Certain companies that I was involved with, we did some testing and found out that it's going to be a problem. And
wow.
we corrected it, months before, so it's not so that it wasn't an issue. But my favorite thing was I hosted a party here at home, and at midnight I just went outside and just smacked the breakers at midnight. So talk about just the screams, Happy New, oh my God!
It's the end of the world.
Yeah, come in with an AK-47. All right, everybody out.
Oh, that's classic. That's good. I like that.
Some people didn't.
I received the other day. Joe sent me a text and it had a link to your upcoming premiere. And I looked at it. The link took me to YouTube. It was actually pretty impressive, Joe.
Yeah, thank you.
It's well put together, and it was South Park-esque, but but
it's not. So.
But right, exactly.
Spanish, yeah. People can say it's a Spanish South Park.
Well, it was it made me laugh. The clip was 30 seconds long, and it was pretty funny.
Yep.
I have to say, the quality of the animation was really, really good.
Oh, that's great. Animators going on there. And
yeah. So I figured here on the show, what I'll do before we put it up on iTunes and every other podcast service in the galaxy is I'll put in a link also so people can click on that and check it out. Because I'm assuming anybody from the public can buy tickets to come in and check it out?
Yes, they can.
Cool.
Yeah. It's premiere/fundraiser.
Very nice.
So, it's this Saturday, July 26, 2014, Year of Our Lord, from 8 to 10 p.m. at Mercer in San Francisco, California, for those of you living in Northern California, United States of America.
That's right.
So,
and I'm saluting right now as you say that.
As it should be.
That's right. Damn straight.
USA.
And these colors don't run, damn it.
Yep.
I don't know what that even means. It's very, I don't know. I had an interesting topic this week, Joe. Our son is getting ready to start kindergarten, and
sorry, I didn't mean to laugh.
Yeah,
Our youngest is 20. Going to be 21 next month. So I'm done with all the, priest, child molesting, school issue, Justin Bieber, Dad, can I have an iPod?
Oh, yeah. No,
crap.
It's the whole gambit, man. And part of what has been really, maybe growing up when public schools were not even a factor. It wasn't a big deal. I mean, very few people, when I grew up at least, very few people went to private school because, honestly, there was no reason to go to private school.
Oh, absolutely.
Public
school was, we had everything in little, let's say I graduated late 70s, and we had, everything. And as my kids grew up, my oldest is 28, so he went to high school, 10 years ago.
Right.
And he had a hot rod, and I said, "Hey, just take it into auto shop." And he looked kind of tilted his head to the right like a bewildered dog, and said, "What? Auto shop?"
So his school didn't have a shop?
No.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I guess after because you're not going to keep in touch with the school, what they're depriving of school these years, unless you're driving an ice cream truck around.
Right.
The high school, which I'm no longer allowed to do.
Well, ever since, that's right.
So, but I mean, the classrooms have gotten bigger. Classes have been removed. Auto shop for one. I mean, all of these, I guess, what were considered non-essential traits or
the extracurricular. Right.
Yeah, that taught pretty much a trait out of high school.
Right. No, it's true.
I mean, I remember driver's ed. Remember driver's ed?
That's right.
You had the trailer with all the imitation
all the simulators. That's right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's
I used to love flooring that thing, seeing my speedometer go up to.
That's right. And now they've got these. I've seen the local advertisements for people, giving driver's ed classes, and that was one of my questions too. A few months ago, I was driving along and I saw that. I mentioned to my wife, I said, "Well, why don't they just take driver's ed in school?" And she said the same thing. She's obviously graduated later than I did. She said they don't have drivers. What are you talking about? Yeah, it was definitely a class we took.
I had to pay. Yeah, even my son, 10+ years ago, I had to pay for his private driving lessons so he could get his license at 16 and everything. Yeah, schools no longer provide that.
I guess it's part of the cutbacks, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
I love it. Yeah.
Well,
anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, not at all. This is what we're doing here. It just, locally, parents never cease to amaze me. I don't ever want to become what I've observed. I don't want to become someone who overschedules their kid with the class every day of the week. I.e. soccer, karate, fencing, ballet, whatever they have going. Any class I put my kiddo in is something he's requested. Hey, Dad, I'd like to do soccer. Okay, he did soccer. I don't even bring things up to him. He does quite well on his own. So when it came time,
met him.
Yeah, he's been in these local places for quite a few years, childcare-esque type places, and I'm blown away by how much money they're making. To keep an eye on your kid. I mean, it's one of those things where it's he was in childcare for the longest time, and they did a great job. They did a wonderful job. He just got bored and came home, and after 3 weeks of coming home saying, I'm just really bored, Dad, and they're not doing anything. I play with toys. So, I kind of paid more close attention to it, and I noticed, it is it's a safe environment. They had a lot of different creative activities, but they weren't sitting down and they weren't learning the kids, damn it. They weren't learning the kids.
Yeah.
So it's,
it's pretty much a babysitting service.
Yeah, exactly. And, $1,100 a month for someone watching your kid, and I didn't take advantage of the full hours, mind you, with two sets of working parents. The drop-off time was, 6:30 a.m. was the earliest drop-off you could make. You could leave your kid there till 6:30 p.m. And there were kids that, their parents took advantage of that. They had, some of them, I think, kind of wanted some quiet time at home, maybe. The others were...
Why have a kid?
Right, that's what we said. And the other part of that was that, some of them were just working people, and they had to do that. They had no choice.
Yeah.
So I tried to pull him out of there as early as possible. What we wound up doing was, not because I really admired the model of it or anything, but we found a Montessori not far from our home, and just because he had asked for some curriculum. He said, Dad, Mom, I want to learn. I want to learn to read. I said, okay, so I checked into it. About the same price as the Kindercare, much shorter hours, and they don't do the lunch. And that's the part that just was the shits, man. You get used to that spoiled thing where, your kid can just, crawl in the car in the morning, you drop them off, fine. They'll feed them snacks, they'll feed them this. It's a much more structured curriculum. But don't get me wrong, Joe. I didn't want him to be a robot or programmed into a box to meet certain criteria. So I explained that to them, and they said, great. He's been there now for, I think, 2.5 years. So he's getting ready to start kindergarten. So I go up the street to the local kindergarten, which looks like a school I went to, looks like something out of Leave It to Beaver, has been there since the 60s. And it was
when school marm out in front with a bell.
Right, exactly. And I think they actually have teachers that have been there since it opened. It was one of those schools where it's like you and I grew up. It was built with the subdivision. So I go up there and I check it out, and I mentioned it to some parents at his school, and it was like, oh, the looks I got. He's going to where? Oh, geez, why would you put him in that? So I just kind of did some research and found out there's probably 15 private schools within a 10-mile radius of us. Yep. Mm-hmm. My wife, she came to me the other day and said, listen, I found this one that looks like, it's a great private school, this and that and this. And I could tell she was being sarcastic by the way she was presenting it. And she showed me she printed out 2 pages, $24,000 a year for a fucking private school for a kindergartner. Are you kidding me?
That's his salary?
Dude, I'm telling you, that's ridiculous.
That's funny.
I told my wife, I said, look, I've hit my peak of what I'm willing to pay for him at this age with where he's at now. The $1,100 a month is that's it. I don't think I should have to go. So I use that as my search criteria. It turns out that that's a very reasonable amount. Some places go a little bit lower. Some places go a little bit higher. But that's my peak. I'm not willing to spend more than that. I'm not sending him to UC Berkeley, for Christ's sakes, in kindergarten. Yeah. But my point in talking about a lot of that was the parental attitudes. I met, out of every 10 people, probably 6 of them said, oh, no, you got to do private. You got to do private. The class size, this, that, and the other. And I said, well, he's going to kindergarten. We're not talking about 5th or 7th or 12th grade.
Right.
I think the bullshit part of all this, Joe, that's really bothering me is, and my wife said it best the other day. She said, look, if you want him to go to private school, or if we decide that we want to do that, fine. But that's a hit on the budget every month. Okay, understandable. So it's 6
just gonna have to do
it's like, so we could either move to an area where normally we probably wouldn't spend that much on a place to live, but that would put us in the quote unquote great school district area.
Yep.
Or we stay where we're at and we put him in a private school and pay that anyway. So either way, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
That's it. You're paying one way.
One way or the other.
Yeah.
I found 2 very, very close Catholic schools, and their tuition was about $700 a month, which is a lot more reasonable, and it is technically a private school. My fear in that is I don't want a kid dragging a rosary around and pulling out his daily prayer book and, telling me I'm going to hell.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a hard choice. It's a hard decision. I don't think it matters that much in kindergarten, but this whole generation of kids, is way ahead of the curve when we grew up.
Well, it's because parents have placed a lot of the responsibility of child rearing on the schools.
Absolutely.
And it's no wonder, kids are beating their parents.
Right.
And like you said, yeah, they're going to come home and be opinionated and, just pretty much if they have no upbringing or I'm at a loss for words, believe it or not, but because this is a subject that it's just been out of my head since probably my kids have been in high school.
Right.
God, I'm so glad I don't have to worry about this because
right.
I tried to instill my beliefs and my values in my kids before they went to school, and not have them be brainwashed by
right.
Their ideas. You're going over there to learn.
Right, that's right.
It's but it's become a social gathering, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
The years. And they're getting tons of money, and a lot of these kids come out. It's a revolving door, man.
Right.
They come out uneducated, and
right.
And it's like, and then you got to send them to college, and that's where you got to, you really do pay the money to get them educated.
Well, absolutely, and part of, and I know your kids are much older than than my son, but it just, I've observed things even in his current environment where he'll come home and he'll mimic behavior that he's seen at school. They've already got a system there where, he'll say, oh, that girl is cool, or this guy is this. And that's when I kind of thought, is this something I should be concerned about? Because like I said to my wife, I said, it concerns me because I don't want to be a parent that just throws him into school and goes, he's there to learn, he'll be fine. Because I already see that influence of his peer group around him, and I don't want to let it go and have it become too late. Not that it is, but, who knows, 4th, 5th, 6th grade, who knows when that transition takes place where, if all of his friends are not going to school or think it's cool to, small things, for example, think it's cool to smoke pot or to smoke or to drink or whatever a parent's worst case scenario may be. I don't want him to pick up on that and have that become his peer group, because growing up, you and I know, you're very impressionable, and once you're into a certain peer group, it's really hard as hell to get out of it.
But see, that's where the connection between the parent and the child comes in. And I'm no doctor, or Spock, whatever the guy, the child psychologist was, but I learned at a young age, I did what I did because I had both my parents worked.
Right.
I was pretty much, I had free reign, man, to do whatever I wanted.
Right. And so did I, yeah.
So I turned that around with our kids. We pretty much had an open communication lines, and I put the fear of God into them. Granted, you do anything wrong, and that's it. I mean,
right.
I'm going to go through the contract that I made them sign in blood, but
right.
they pretty much adhered to it, and I got a Father's Day card from Joey saying, God, I remember that, and it's, man, he says, I see these kids now, I go, you're 28, you're saying these kids,
right.
Pretty soon they'll be calling you sir.
Right. Well, Joe, I think that's part of what concerns me is because, the way I grew up is very similar to the way you grew up. We were kind of left on our own, not like left on our own, but the choices we made were in front of us. I didn't have mom and dad holding my hand along the way. And I think that's part of why I have that deep-founded concern for him, because I made a lot of wrong choices along the way also. The difference is that in our generation, you and I think it was easier to do a turnaround. Yeah. I feel that way. Once kids get in trouble these days, I think you're pretty much done. You've got a label on you, either as a troublemaker, either from your school or from the cops or from whoever.
And it's on Facebook.
Yeah, no, it's true. And it's I think they have. I will tell you that I really believe this, and I used to hear parents say this, and I thought, that's just a bunch of bullshit. But I believe it now, and that's that these kids have a lot more on them, on their heads these days than we ever did.
Oh, absolutely.
The expectation, I think, is higher. He's getting ready to start kindergarten, and I see his peer group and his teachers at where he's at now saying, well, yeah, he can say all of his ABCs, he can count to 100, he can this and that. I remember starting kindergarten and learning all of that, and I knew part of it just because you were around other kids that knew it or whatever, not because I was taught it, because I saw it and I was mimicking it. Yep. It's just pretty incredible to me that I never would have thought a few years ago that a school choice would have been even on the top 3 of my agenda for when, for this time in my life. I thought, a school's a school, but apparently it's changed quite a bit.
And adding stress factor to it, too.
Absolutely.
He just went down, signed the paperwork, and all right, pick you up at 3.
Right, exactly.
Actually, didn't pick you up. What are you talking about, pick you up?
Right.
I had to walk.
Yeah. And
there was no line of cars. That's the other thing, It's like there was no line of cars. School let out. Kids walked home.
Walked home, man. The only time we got rides is when you had a doctor's appointment, or
you got in trouble.
Yeah, no, that's right. That's right. I remember we would just shit a cat if we saw Dad's car out front. Something happened. Was not a good day.
And he's standing out there with his arms on his side.
Yeah, no, dude. In the car, we were not happy. If he were standing out of the car. Yeah, you tried to blend in with the other kids coming out, standing at the bus ramp.
And he notices his pants are a little cockeyed because he's not wearing the belt because it's behind his back.
Oh, yeah, dude. That's right. That's exactly
not in front
right.
of the school dad.
Yeah, no, that's right.
But,
So when you pay this money at his school, it's interesting. His class size, a big class where he's at now, even like they have kindergarten where he's at now. We could keep him there technically. A big class size where he's at now is 18 kids. And that has a state certified teacher, and a teacher's aide who acts pretty much just like the teacher. So technically you've got 2 teachers in the class. 18 kids is a lot in each of those classrooms. The local school I went to has 30 to 35 kids.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And that goes to, again, the whole education thing, man. It's like, it's right around the corner. When I'm leaving to pick him up from where he's at now is when they let out. When I take him in the morning to where he goes now is when I see the kids going to the potential public school that he'll be going to around the corner from the house. I see more kids not from the neighborhood going to that public school. And I understand, some people come from crap neighborhoods. I feel bad. Maybe your school's that overwhelmed they can't handle it.
Oh,
so
yeah.
They bus you in, and that goes to a whole separate issue. But I just think it's really, really bizarre, man. It's like there's a whole bunch of houses back here, and most of these kids coming out of school are not coming down to these houses in this area at all.
Nope.
So I don't know. Homeschooling has become a really big thing.
Yes, it is.
I can't do it. I couldn't do it if you paid me, man.
It's a discipline too. It's like working from home.
It's got to be.
Yep.
It's got to be. There are some people we know of here locally that have 3 and 4 kids that homeschool them. Well, I can put on my teacher hat from 11 to 11:30, but I'm still a parent first and foremost, and I think,
and that's where I think it's beneficial too,
yeah.
Because there's no outside influence on the kid.
Well, that's true, and that that's very cultish. I don't want you talking to anybody.
Yeah, that's it. Where do you guys live? My dad says Waco.
Ooh.
What?
My dad says temporarily until the mothership comes back, we're staying here.
We're stocking up on Kool-Aid. That big Costco tub.
Ooh. We practice all the time. Daddy says, take a shot of Jell-O Kool-Aid.
Yep.
Wow.
But I'll tell you, yeah, it is funny though that the times from when we were kids to our kids to your kids, which are growing up now.
Right.
I mean, it's like more and more, curriculum is being taken out of public schools. I mean, eventually it's just going to be, you come in, grab your books, go home and study on your laptop or something.
Yeah.
It's going to be, death by PowerPoint is some of the training that we get at work.
That's exactly right. Everything is just so marketed, man, to various age groups these days. My son came up to me probably once a week, twice a week, minimum. Joe, he comes up to me and says, Dad, why do I need to go to school? It's that usual, I want to stay home today. I don't want to get dressed, whatever. And I say, listen, that's where you learn. That's where, you get a good education. And he always looks at me and says, well, why can't I just do it like the kids on TV on abcmouse.com?
Wow.
And I'm like,
wow. /
Yeah, that's right. I mean, he'll hand me his iPad, and say, why don't you pull this up or pull that up? Once he's got the alphabet down, I'm screwed on the whole password thing for the iTunes store. And yeah, I'm done. I'm toast. I'm toast.
You got to get the retinal scan adapter.
You know what? Biometrics would be great.
Yep.
That's right. I'm with you on that one.
There's face recognition software now on laptops that I saw, and it's like, what if I don't shave that day?
So I'm done. I wanted to bring something up, and I don't know if you wanted to talk about it or not. You're very sensitive about this because you are a sensitive, wonderful man.
Well, no, it's like I said, it's out of my mind now. I mean, my daughter's in college now, but I think she's got her momentum going as far as her path.
Well, and both your kids did the both of them went to public school, right?
Public school, absolutely.
And they turned out great. I mean, but then again, I mean, well, now your daughter, it hasn't been that many years since she was actually in a public school.
Yep.
So,
but still, it was, it all starts at home, man. I mean, I really, drove home the fact that these are my rules, and
right.
I don't care, what other kids do, because we've all been there, and peer pressure.
Oh, sure.
I used to do it for fun. Come on, all the cool kids are doing it. Come on.
Right.
Steal a car.
Right.
I dare you. Hey, you're a pretty good roller skater. Bet you can't do that during the rally naked. And he did it.
Oh, that all sounds
so with all of that, I go, man, I really gotta lock my kids down because karma's gonna kick me square in the ass.
Right in the butt, man.
But
wow.
But I'll tell you something that I heard. An acquaintance of mine who spent oodles of money on private schools since grammar school, and I think it was to the tune of $36,000 a year outside outside of grammar school.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the kid. The kid's a little brat. Man. I've seen him mouth off to his parents, flip them off when they're not looking, and things like that. And whenever they do something wrong, it's like, the comment that he made, kind of made me think. I can't believe he acts like this. I mean, he's going to a really, I pay good money for the school he's going to.
And it's their fault.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I had no response because I don't engage with idiots like that. But
right.
It's like, what are you going to say? You've already got your mindset. So just shut the hell up and watch the show. So
well, and that goes back to what you said earlier. I completely agree, man. It's a good percentage of parents expect the schools to raise their kids.
Absolutely. And then they complain because it's like, homosexuality or sexual orientation or, some other religion is brought in. And it's like, well, wait a minute. And well, when I went to school, everything was taught. Everything was shown. And, but when it came down to it, it still was what was taught at home that based your values. And later on in life, you made your own choices.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, homeschooling, if you want to get away from all that, homeschool,
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, there are, I think if someone's got the right personality, and I think the key would be patience. Then I think, that might not be a bad thing.
Nope.
I agree.
Just talk to your kid every day.
Yeah, no, that's right.
See what's going on in school. Well, little Timmy brought a gun. That's the other thing. Holy crap! Nobody brought a gun to school.
Nothing exciting. Yeah.
Nobody brought a gun to school, and it's probably because there are no sports. Man, that's like I asked my son. I think because I was curious. I said, "What kind of sports are they offering?" And this is about 10 years ago. And he said, "Baseball, tennis, football." And I'm waiting for more. And it's like, holy crap! We had swimming, we had golf.
Sure. We had everything. Yeah, same here.
Yeah. It's like, there's nothing to do.
God, I think we even had like a badminton team.
Badminton, yes, we had badminton.
That's right.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
The shuttlecock.
That's right. Which, I
love saying it over and over. Hey, pass the shuttlecock.
We all did.
Yep.
Wait a minute.
Has anyone seen my shuttlecock? I dropped it here somewhere. Susie.
What's this called again, teacher?
Well, interrupt her in the middle of it. Shuttle. What?
That's right.
Oh, okay, go on. Cock.
Oh, that's right. Oh. Joe, this is non sequitur, but I wanted to touch on something because it really it kind of steamed my clams too the other day. Do you remember when you needed a jump start?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Go ahead and tell the story.
Yeah. Well, my daughter has a fairly new car. It's about 3 years old, but the ignition switch. Remember how you used to have in the car? My car. You don't need a key to leave the radio on.
Right.
You just, you turn the car off, you push the radio, and it's on.
Right.
Hers, you need the key to be in the accessory position.
Right. So it's kind of the traditional ignition, the way it's always been.
Right. So I think I over-clicked it into the on mode, which left the driving lights on. So my battery died. And, I pretty much loaded her car with a first aid kit, AR-17, AK-47, and jumper cables.
Very smart.
So, but this gentleman pulls up in front of me, and I walked up to his window, and he was on the phone, and he hung up and said, "Yeah, can I help you?" And I said, "Hey, would you mind giving me a jump?" And he says, "Oh, gee, I'd love to, but I don't have any jumper cables." And I went, "I've got a pair." And he said, "Oh, well then, no."
Oh my God! Now that brings me to my point, and this is human fucking behavior, Joe, and you know this as well as I do. People say, I don't have jumper cables. I've been through it. We all have been through it, right?
Right.
They don't they very well may have a set of jumper cables in their fucking trunk, right?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
They don't care, and that's the thing. That proves the point that you actually had the cables.
Yep.
And he probably wouldn't have had to do anything.
No.
You know?
I matter of fact, when he hold on, I got a truck. I left my window open, so you're going to hear this truck go by right
That's
now.
Fine.
And the thing was, yeah, I mean, it would have taken 2 seconds. The hood was open, cables were there,
Right.
and it was just tap. You know, it wasn't even going to take that much juice. You know,
Well, and you were in an area, I remember, because Joe and I had spoke on the phone that day, because I was actually doing something. I was going to come home, get my car, and you were just a few miles down the road. I was going to come give you a jump. You were in an area where, you know, it's upper middle class. It's a very
Walnut Creek, California.
Right. It's a very Caucasian
driving
neighborhood.
a Toyota minivan.
Yeah.
Guy looked
Fucker.
like a cross between Rick Moranis and Woody Allen. Anyway, so
Well, that's
You know.
yeah, and that's not surprising at all. But
I felt bad when I told him. I said, "God forbid you ever need a jump." You know.
Right.
Yeah,
well, you
but,
shouldn't feel
know,
bad, Joe. I mean, that's instant karma.
And he just
man.
kind of
That's
gave me
all.
this look, like sorry, you know.
Yeah.
I said,
I'm just always amazed. I mean, I'll be honest. People have come to me before when I've been in a parking lot wherever and said, "Hey, can I get a jump?" And I didn't have jumper cables at the time. Since I've always made sure both cars have jumper cables in the trunk, which is just a smart thing to do anyway.
Yep.
And I've never ever had that issue. My wife has run the battery down on numerous occasions, and she had people stop, usually middle-aged, older people, and give her a jump on the side of the road. One time at 3:30 in the morning, coming home from work, and older gentleman stopped in a pickup truck, gave her a jump start, and followed her to our driveway to make sure the car would run okay.
Very cool. Yeah.
So, there's a few of them out there.
Yep. Well, within like 20 minutes, because not a lot of people. It was early in the morning.
Right.
We went there early to get some stuff done.
Mm-hmm.
But a gentleman across the street, an old beat up Honda Civic.
Mm-hmm.
I asked, "Hey, can you?" And he made a U-turn, opened to the thing,
Wow.
and he's, we were in and out in like 5 minutes, man. He was like, "Hey, thanks. Have a good." I got to get going. Offered to give him money too, and
Wow.
he goes, "Nope, I ain't taking it. Thank you." He goes, "Just pay it forward," and that's exactly what I do.
See, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. The jury's still out for me, man. A lot of people say that, that old freaking adage, most people are good. There's a few bad ones. Man, maybe it's just my experience. And I'm not saying that it's always been my experience, but there's also the adage of most people are shitheads and there's a few good ones.
That's it.
I lean towards that. Just the years on God's green earth, it's like, I don't want to be paranoid and say everybody's bad, but I've seen some pretty pretty crappy things go on.
Oh yeah.
You just kind of watch your six and do what you can.
Yep.
Man.
Yeah, I try to help out when people are out there. But if it's an issue of time or,
Right.
or something's questionable, it's it's kind of like the beggar off the end of the freeway. You
Right.
know, you kind of run through your mind after hearing all the stories. One bad apple. Well, the guy's not really poor.
Right.
He pulled up in a BMW and just put on some grubbies and went off to the side. And you figure if you get $1 every 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That's $12 an hour.
Oh, sure. Sure.
And that's minimum. Get people. I've seen guys that you can legitimately tell. Either that or they're great actors.
Mm-hmm.
That are just down on their luck, and they've taken the time to put their life story on that cardboard box.
Yeah.
Lost my job, Vietnam vet, but you're only 20.
Right. That's striking that.
Yeah, I look at that and I go, wait a minute, you're younger than me. How the hell? Yeah, Civil War vet.
Right. Yeah. That would probably sell. That would
Played
probably sell.
Played an extra on Hogan's Heroes. Oh, okay. Well, that one worked.
Oh, geez, you're my hero.
So you were LeBeau's comrade.
Well, it goes back to I saw a survey. This kind of ties in with what you're saying a few months back, and it said that they surveyed I think 500 college students, and most of them didn't know U.S. history. So you could probably get away with that Civil War thing. I said, yeah, wasn't that over in Iraq?
Yep.
The Civil War, yeah.
It was fought by civilians. That's why they call it that.
I think everybody should have to take a citizenship test again. I think everybody should. Because
that's my big thing. I think there should be a test for everything.
Yeah, well,
you want to have a kid.
What's funny is most of the people running around holding these U.S. flags, going, "We don't want these immigrants, and we don't want these damn foreigners in our country." If you had to test them to become a citizen, they'd be gone next week.
Yep, that's it.
You know, George Washington, he started that damn brewery with Sam Adams. That son of a bitch is still alive.
I remember when the Olympics were in Salt Lake City, and somebody had called up the office to get tickets, and they said, "Your address, please." And they said, "Blah blah blah, Smith Street, New Mexico." And they said, "New Mexico." Oh, well, let me connect you to our international desk.
Wow, and you know what? That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, and this radio station kept calling. I guess this one person, when they answered, they told them New Mexico, and they were adamant. It sounded like an older woman too. So. But, it's like, no, ma'am, New Mexico's part of these here United States. I don't care what, no.
Well, what the hell's wrong with the old Mexico? They done went and invented a new one.
That's it.
Wow.
Fix the old one first, that's what I say.
That's right.
If it ain't broke.
He's out picketing the federal building. No New Mexico.
And in no way are we depicting Southerners, since we are
that
dialect too.
All right, Joe, it's been fun, man.
Always.
And I will put the link up for Joe's upcoming premiere in San Francisco up on our cast. You'll be able to click the link, and it'll take you. Actually, I'm going to do it where it'll take you right to YouTube, so people can see that little clip, because that's a great clip.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much on the premise, because I think what a lot of the. Back in the day, because there wasn't a lot of cliche, double entendre humor, like in the Flintstones. You could take a Flintstones and translate it word for word, and it will play anywhere in the world.
Right.
And I mean, because it was simple conversation. A lot of the newer cartoons have a lot of these double entendre, the sexual innuendos that don't translate into any language other than English. I mean, same thing with Spanish. If I was to say, in English, if I was to say fisting,
right.
And you'd say it in Spanish, and you just kind of go, well, why are you waving your fist at me? And it's like, no, so certain things don't translate. So what we're trying to do is build some cartoons from the
interesting
ground
choice of what can translate, though. I'm just pointing. I wanted to point that out there.
But
the animation. Who did the animation on that? Joe?
Actually, Jorge is in charge of personnel. So I haven't met the new animator. The
he did a great job.
Guys. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I have not met him yet. So.
Now, what is the hopes with the series? They want to make this.
Well, right now it's playing. It's actually playing in Puerto Rico and Colombia.
Okay.
So, I mean, you got to fly down there to go take a look at it. So.
Now, is this going to be a regular thing they want to keep doing?
Yeah. Right now we're doing like an episode a month.
Okay.
And then hopefully, if we get picked up by more, the more and more we get picked up, the more.
Oh man, this you guys, he should be down in L.A. pitching this to the Latin American networks down there. I know a lot of the headquarters that are down there by the airport.
Yeah, actually, Jorge, who's going to be moving towards Florida. Actually, Miami is more of a Latin. Yeah, believe it or not. And again, this is no way stereotypical, but L.A.'s more Mexican market,
right?
Versus Spanish market is a little more diverse. We're talking New York and and Miami.
No, that's true. That's very true.
Anyway.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll include that information on our link, and
rider pulling up in front of my house now. Just say fucker.
You talking shit again? All right, buddy. We'll be back again in just a few days, and
good. Yeah,
we'll talk about some more stuff.
I'll be on the road.
That's right. You are going on the road.
Dallas, Texas. So,
where are you going?
Dallas, Texas.
Oh, that's right. Wow.
Yep.
Well, be careful there.
Why?
I don't talk to anyone.
It's
Texas.
You're that guy from. Oh, dude, I never tell anybody I'm from San Francisco.
No, you can't.
Because of the accent, I never tell them. No, it's like, no. Where are you from? It's like, we're from around. I actually got pulled over once, and I threw out an accent, and I got out of a ticket.
Oh, I'll bet you did. I'll bet you did.
You know why I pulled you over? He'll, nope. Probably because I was speeding.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of love for Texas. You know that. Anyone that knows me knows that. But I'm just saying, every time I've been pulled over in Texas, they tell me it's standard procedure, but I've never had it anywhere else where they hit you with a stun gun, then ask you for your ID. I mean, that just doesn't seem right.
Cavity search.
Yeah, and what's
for a busted tail light?
What's this shit about? You know the position, fucker.
And you're wearing a priest outfit.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Pulling my son away, talking about, don't worry, son, we'll find your mom, Pa. Fuckers. No love lost for Texas.
Wow.
They're nationalistic. I used to tell my wife, they have that bumper sticker out there that says, secede from the Union, Texas, with the flag on it, which you fucking see everywhere in case you forgot where the fuck you're at while you're out there. But, I used to see that bumper sticker, and I told my wife, I said, I should get one, you can go on the internet and have like 50 printed up overnight, get one with the flag, looks identical, and says, Texas, you should secede. You're a fucking embarrassment to the rest of the nation.
Good God.
I'm blown away, dude.
Wow.
Every time something happens there, it's no longer surprising. So that's a whole fucking show we could do, and people always talk shit, well, Austin's a music capital. We spent fucking 3 nights in Austin. There's 8 fucking music clubs. That makes you a music capital?
Oh, yeah, and 17 Hooters.
Right, exactly. It's unfucking believable. You know what? We should do that next time. Let's have a fucking player haters hate fest on.
Wow.
On fucking.
On one condition, man, you fucking stop snorting that powdered caffeine that's out there killing everybody. Man.
Oh, dude,
crap.
that's a piece of work right there. Wow.
Yep.
I didn't even know it existed.
My 12-ounce Red Bull in the morning and a couple cups of coffee, and I'm good to go, man. But these guys are taking it to the next level, man.
Yeah. I read a thing that said like a quarter teaspoon of that is equal to like 20 cups of coffee.
25 cups of coffee. Yep.
I mean, where are they? Is this like at the local mini mart?
No, it's online. You have to
really?
Yeah.
I'm hesitant to buy anything online. I mean, other than my high blood pressure and heart medication from the Canadian pharmacy through Puerto Rico that I get. But other than that, I would not buy anything like that online.
Yeah, send me some powder that I'm going to ingest. I trust you.
Yeah, that's going to be the whole new, and I don't know. That's a whole bunch of bullshit going on there. People are dying daily, man.
Love it. Thinning of the herd, man.
Yeah, no, it's true. Darwin, is it?
Yep. The Darwin Awards. Yeah, I have no sympathy for these idiots. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, the kid I read about was, 17 or 18? I think that's old enough to, I would hope that I raise my son to go, it's on the internet, it must be okay. I'd hope I'd raise him a little better than that.
Yep. I mean, do you have to really come out with a chart and go, anything over a pint of booze, alcohol poisoning,
right.
Anything over 10 grams of caffeine, overdose.
Right.
Well,
you don't know where that shit comes from off the internet, you know what I mean? It's
chick who has daddy issues, overdose.
Yeah.
Don't just stay away from it. That's so wrong.
It's a brave new world.
Oh.
It's awful. Oh, Joe, it's been a pleasure.
Always.
All right, we'll talk again soon.
Have a lovely afternoon.
All right.
Join us next week for another episode of Moments Without Reason.